Today we're going to discuss the topic of functions. So from O levels, we know that a function is an expression like this. From O levels, let me also write gx equals, let's say, x squared. All right. Now from O levels, we also know how to find f2. Who can tell me how do we find f2?
It's 3.
Yes. All we have to do is replace x with 2 and we get 3. All right. From O levels, we also know how to find f inverse of x. Next thing. Yes, how do we find f inverse of x? We start with y equals 2x minus very cool. Then we make x the subject. So -1 goes to the other side, becomes +1. 2 goes to the other side, divided by 2 equals x. So f inverse of x, let me just write it here, would be equals to y is replaced with x plus 1 over 2. ठीक है? याद आ गया या should I give you another example? Okay, take it. All right. Then from O levels, we also know how to solve fx equals 5. इसमें क्या करते थे? What do we do here?
वो दो उनको इक्वेट कर देंगे.
Yes. Left hand side is fx, and we know fx is 2x minus 1. So 2x minus 1 equals 5. So x equals 6 by 2, which is 3. So if you've done O levels and not IGCSE, so you wouldn't know what is FG. FG means that now instead of fx, the input function is g. So just like f2, what do we do in f2? Replace this x with 2. Now what we'll do, we'll replace that x with g. So we get 2 times, instead of gx, you'll write gx minus 1. And you know the function gx, it's x squared. So this becomes 2x squared minus 1. This fg is called a composite function. This is a composite function. Any questions?
No.
Please make proper notes. I can't stress on that enough. E is GF. That means you have to input F in G. So in the function gx, this x gets replaced with fx. So now it becomes fx whole square. So that would be 2x minus 1 whole square. You may or may not further expand it, but that is GF. It's read as GF or G of F. Okay. What about F? What happens here?
2x minus 1, so x की जगह पे 2x minus 1.
Yes. This is F, and in F, you substitute f again. So 2x minus 1 becomes 2fx minus 1, which is 2 times again 2x minus 1 minus 1, which gives 4x minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. Abu Bakr, if you have questions, you're supposed to ask right away.
Yes.
Okay, part G is find G. Abu Bakr, how do we find G? Not the model G. Yes.
जैसे ये एफ एफ का किया है तो ये हो जाएगा 2gx.
जी का मतलब क्या है?
मीन्स जी ऑफ जी.
हाँ, जी ऑफ जी फंक्शन में ही जी इनपुट करना है, तो 2x माइनस 1 तो इधर आएगा ही नहीं.
मीन्स मैं वो कह रहा हूँ एफ की तरह करेंगे तो यहाँ 2x स्क्वेयर.
2x स्क्वायर माइनस, तो आप f क्यों ला रहे हो इसमें? इसमें तो कहीं f है ही नहीं.
मिस मैं कहता जैसे 2f(x) है ना, उसी तरह ये भी होगा.
तो फिर बताओ ना कैसे होगा.
2g(x).
2g ऑफ x माइनस 1
-1 नहीं,
क्यों नहीं होगा?
क्योंकि हमें g(x) में -1 दिया ही नहीं हुआ.
देखो आप ना, हम कर रहे हैं जी और आप यहाँ 2x पे जा रहे हो. 2x तो fx का पार्ट है और इस क्वेश्चन में f का तो मेंशन ही नहीं, तो f को तो देखना भी नहीं है, हमने g को देखना है. इट सेज दैट इन g इनपुट g, सो g के अंदर g इनपुट करना है. मुझे बताओ g1 कैसे फाइंड करेंगे अबू बकर?
मिस x की जगह 1 तो 1 आ जाएगा.
1 स्क्वायर हो जाएगा, ठीक है. g2 कैसे फाइंड करोगे?
4.
हाँ, x की जगह 2 लिख दिया और 2 स्क्वायर, तो g कैसे फाइंड करोगे? अब x की जगह g लिखना है, ठीक है. तो
x
होल
स्क्वेयर.
स्क्वायर ऑफ gx, होल स्क्वायर ऑफ gx. पहले में 1 को स्क्वायर कर दिया, सेकंड में 2 को स्क्वायर कर दिया, थर्ड में gx को स्क्वायर कर दिया, और gx क्या था? x square. So you're squaring x square, which gives you x power 4. So that would be square of x square, which is x power 4. Okay. Let me give you another one. Let's say there's also hx equals square root of x minus 2. Okay, now tell me what is going to be EFG part H. F, G. How do we find this? What's the input function in H, F, G? The rightmost function is always the input function. We first need to break it down. First, you need FG, and the result of FG will be substituted in H. All right, so let's do it here. Let's start with FG. Abu Bakr, I need you to tell me how will
2x square minus 1.
हाँ, पहले ही हम निकाल चुके हैं. We already have FG from here, which is 2x square minus 1. So now it's saying that in H, substitute FG, which we already know that is 2x square minus 1. अब मुझे अबू बकर बताओ, अब क्या करेंगे?
मिस 2x स्क्वेयर में -1 स्क्वेयर रूट.
2x square minus 1 और उसके साथ एक और भी minus 1.
और दोबारा -1.
हाँ, and then square root. Good. So this is actually square root of uh 2x square minus 1 minus 4. So that would be 2x square minus 2. Yeah. So this is basic concept, very, very basic concept of a composite function. Okay. Now let's talk about when is an expression a function and when is an expression not a function. Determine if a relation is a better word. Relation is a function or not. Okay, this is the subtopic. Determine if a relation is a function or not. अब जरूरी नहीं है that the relationship you're given like 2x minus 1 or gx equals let's say square root of x or let's say f hx equals modulus of x. Modulus आप A2 में पढ़ते हैं, आप दोनों ने पढ़ा हुआ है वैसे. Okay, so मॉडुलस ऑफ एक्स जरूरी नहीं है ये तीनों फंक्शंस हो. ठीक है, they could be a function, they could not be a function. How do you determine if a relation is a function or not? The best way to do is visualize its sketch first. So this would look like this. 2x upward slope and passing through -1 will be a sketch like this. Square root of x is a sketch like this. And modulus of x is a sketch like this. And let me also sketch another one. FGH, let's say IX. IX is x square, which is like this. Okay. Now, how do you determine if these relations are function or not? You carry out something which is called a vertical line test. Okay. So you draw a vertical line anywhere through the graph and you count the number of points of intersection. If the vertical line intersects your curve at only one point, then it is a function. Otherwise, it's not a function. So let's say this is A, B, C, and D. So if a vertical line intersects the curve at only one point, then the curve or the relation is a function. If the vertical line intersects a curve at only one point, then it is a function. So, which of these sketches are sketches of a function?
fx and ix.
Fx.
Oh, and ax.
Yes. Part A, part C, and part D. All of them are functions, and part B is not, because the vertical line is intersecting the curve at 2 points. So in this case, like Dua said, fx is a function, hx is a function, ix is a function, because they satisfy the vertical line test or because they pass the vertical line test. Okay. Now, how are you supposed to write this mathematically? In the exam, if you're asked whether this curve is representing a function or whether this expression is representing a function, you're not supposed to write vertical line test. It is not the correct mathematical way of giving an answer. This is just a shortcut or just a visual representation of getting you to the right answer. It's just a visual aid. इसको लिखना नहीं होता कि since this is passing the vertical line test, so it's a function. Instead, you write the statement that I'm about to write. For an expression to be a function, each value of x must map on one unique value of y. Each value of x must map on one unique value of y. This is what you write. If you're asked, explain whether this curve is a function or not. So you write, since each value of x is mapping on a unique value of y, it is a function. You do not write that since it's passing a vertical line test, it is a function. ये proper statement दे दीजिए. Okay, now let me explain the statement to you. We've already established that this is not a function because it is failing the vertical line test. The vertical line test is intersecting this curve at 2 points. So, देखो, the value of x, let's say, is 3. It is not mapping on one unique value of y. It's mapping on two values of y. यहाँ पे भी, let's say this is 5. और यहाँ पे भी, let's say it's -5. So one value of x is producing two values of y. That is not the definition of a function. One value of y must only produce one value of, each value of x must only produce one value of y. एक इनपुट से एक ही आउटपुट आना चाहिए. दो अलग अलग आउटपुट नहीं आ सकते. कभी हमने पढ़ा है कि F1 का आंसर या F3 का आंसर 5 भी हो सकता है और F3 का आंसर -5 भी हो सकता है. दैट इज इनकरेक्ट. F3 का आंसर या 5 आएगा हमारे क्वेश्चन को देख के या -5 आएगा. ठीक है. सो how do you quickly tell if a graph is a graph of a function? You draw the vertical line and see if it is passing or failing the test. But how do you write it down? You say that each value of x must map on a unique value of y. Then it is a function. Otherwise, it's not. Okay. So we've discussed whether a relation is a function or not. Let's talk about domain and range of a function. We will write a function fx equals 2x minus 1. And I'm going to write this. X goes from -1 till 3. Now these are the allowed input values of this function. And this is called the domain of fx. So let me just draw. This is fx, which is 2x minus 1. And the allowed input values are -1, 0, 1, 2 and 3, and obviously the values in between like 2.01 भी होगा, 1.1 भी होगा, but I've just written integer values. So these are the integer input values of the function, and what would be the corresponding output values of the function? What would be f minus 1?
-4. Sorry, -3.
Minus 3, yes. What would be the output when input is 0?
-1.
Yes. For 1, it will be 1. For
3.
2, it will be 3. And for 3, it will be 5. Okay. So the input values, the domain is from -1 till 3. And the range, which would be fx, is between 5 and -3. So that's the concept of domain and range, and this would be the range. What if fx is x square plus 2, where the domain is all the real values of x? Give me an example of all real values of x. क्या मतलब?
1, 2, 3.
What about -1, -2, -3?
That's real too.
Yes. So any possible number on the number line. Anything between infinity to -infinity, they are all real numbers. Even 2.2222, even 1/3. So basically any number on the number line is a real number. Now, if that is the domain of this function fx, so फिर output में क्या हो सकता है?
Infinite. Again.
From you're saying that the output fx would also be real numbers, any value on the number line.
Yes.
Thank you. Can the output be -5? क्या नेगेटिव आउटपुट हो सकता है
नहीं,
x स्क्वायर प्लस
स्क्वायर हो रहा है.
हाँ स्क्वायर हो रहा है, तो नेगेटिव आउटपुट नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है अबू बकर, नेगेटिव तो नहीं हो सकता. तो फिर ये बात तो गलत है कि सारी रियल वैल्यूज है. सारी रियल वैल्यूज नहीं है.
0 to infinity.
हाँ 0 to infinity हो सकता है. अच्छा अब मुझे बताओ कि क्या आउटपुट 2 से छोटा हो सकता है? 1 हो सकता है आउटपुट?
No.
1 भी नहीं हो सकता. तो मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या हो सकती है इसके आउटपुट की?
2.
2, yes. So the output is greater than 2. So the range is greater than 2. The domain, if the domain is all real values of x, then the range is greater than 2. I think it should be greater than equals to 2. Equals to लगाना जरूरी है, otherwise they don't give you the marks if you mess up the inequality. ठीक है, क्योंकि जब x 0 होगा तो y 2 हो. So yes, greater than equals to 2. Okay. अच्छा अब बात करते हैं कॉम्पोजिट फंक्शन. हमने बेसिक डिस्कस कर लिया है. अब लेट्स डिस्कस एन एग्जांपल. Example is express as composite function. Express as composite function. Okay. So you're given a couple of functions, fx, gx, hx. Fx is, let's say, square root of x. Gx is x minus 7. And hx is x squared. The question is express the following as composite functions. It has three parts, a, b, and c. A is x squared minus 7. B is x minus 7. Sorry, x squared minus 14x plus 49. And C is under root x minus 7. And there's also a D, which is under root x minus 7. And there's also an E, which is x squared minus 7 whole. Okay. You have to write these as composite function. Composite function का मतलब है आपने बताना है कि is this, for example, fg, maybe gf, maybe hg, maybe hgh. इस तरह से बताना है. So
The first one is GH.
you're saying that g is going in h.
Yep. नहीं, sorry. HG.
Okay. gh भी लिख के देख लेते हैं और hg भी लिख के देख लेते हैं. जी. अबू बकर मुझे बताओ gh क्या होगा?
मिस एक्स स्क्वेयर माइनस 7.
सही है. और hg क्या होगा?
X minus 7 whole square.
h के अंदर g लेके जाना है. Yes. So it will be x minus 7 whole square. Yes. So the first one is gh. This is gh. Second one, notice, is this expanded. ये वही है. Yes. इसको expand कर लिया हुआ. So this is x minus 7 whole square, which is a square minus 2ab plus b square. So it is 8g. Because 8g is x minus 7 whole square. Okay. Abu Bakr, can you tell me what is under root x minus 7?
मिस एक मिनट. मिस gf.
g क्या?
gf.
gf. ठीक है. आप कह रहे हो कि g में f को डाल देना है. ये कह रहे हो. ठीक है.
जी.
g के अंदर f को डाल देना है. तो अगर हम g के अंदर f पुट कर रहे हैं तो ये इधर आ जाएगा.
जी.
तो
मिस
फिर
ये डी होगी. ये डी पार्ट होगा.
ये d part है. Yes, you're right. It's going to be under root 7, under root x minus 7, which is d part, gf. So what is this part? Part C.
मिस ये एफ जी होगा.
हाँ, fg होगा. Because fg means that g is going in f. So this goes in here. So this is under root x minus 7. So yes, it's going to be fg. What about the last part?
HGH.
hgh. देखते हैं. Let's see. She's saying it's HGH. Let's see if it's right or wrong. We always start from here. Abu Bakr, what is GH?
मिस GH होगा x square minus 7.
हाँ पहले ही पता है x square minus 7. So now we have to input x square minus 7 in H. What would that be?
मिस x square minus 7 whole square.
हाँ ये इधर चला गया. So it's going to be x square minus 7 whole square. So Dua was right. This is going to be HGH. That's correct. अच्छा एक और तरह से भी आ सकता है जो मैंने लिखा नहीं है इधर. Let me just write that down. So, have you copied this?
Yes,
जी
miss.
इस तरह से भी आ सकता है. Under root x plus 7. यूं भी आ सकता है. Okay. Now there's a problem. We don't have x plus 7. Instead, we have x minus 7. So that means G inverse का use हो रहा है. क्योंकि G inverse जो होगा वो होगा x plus 7. करके देख लेते हैं. पहले G inverse निकालते हैं. That would be y equals x minus 7. Make x the subject. So that's going to be y plus 7 equals x. And G inverse x will be x plus 7. Okay, this is first G inverse effect. So now you've also accounted for G inverse effects. So now what is under root x plus 7 as a composite function? This is
FG inverse.
under root x plus 7. So this is going in this. So it is G inverse of f. F जा रहा है ना G inverse के अंदर, not the other way around. So the input function is f. So it's going to be G inverse f. ठीक है? इसी तरह if I write f के बाद point G, which is under root x plus 7. ये क्या हो जाएगा?
FG inverse.
Yes, this will be FG inverse. क्योंकि अब ये इधर जा रहा है इसके अंदर. ठीक है. All right. So you get questions like this as well, where you're given different cases of f, g, h, and I, etc., and then you're given jumbled up functions, and you're asked to write down how can that be written as a composite function or what composite functions. ये हो गया. What else? Okay, now we talk about domain.
मिस नेहा लिंक भेज दे.
Sorry.
अगर मिस नेहा लिंक भेज दे.
ठीक है, I'll do that. Now we're going to talk about composite function again, but we'll discuss whether it is possible to form a composite function or not. Like we discussed a while back, that if there's a function that, let me just write down the heading first, is it possible to form the composite reader style? Okay. It's not necessary with that you'll always be able to form a composite function fg. You have f, you have g. It's not always possible to form the composite function fg. So is it possible to form the composite function? Okay. Is it possible to form the composite function? Okay, like I just said, that if you have a composite function, fx is equals to 2x minus 5. And gx equals x square. जरूरी नहीं है that you can form fg or gf or gg or ff. By the way, मैं तब बताना भूल गई कि gg को वो g square करके भी पूछ सकते हैं. So if a question says find g square, that means you have to find g of g. Do not end up whole squaring g. जी का जब होल स्क्वायर उन्होंने पूछना होता है ना, तो इस तरह से पूछते हैं जी एक्स ब्रैकेट होल स्क्वायर. और जब उन्होंने आपसे जी ऑफ जी निकलवाना होता है, तो उसके लिए दे राइट आइदर जी जी और जी स्क्वायर. सो दीज आर टू डिफरेंट थिंग्स. होल स्क्वायर कुछ और है और जी जी कुछ और. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, गेटिंग साइड ट्रैक, बट लेट्स जस्ट get it over with. fx bracket whole square would be 2x minus 5 whole square. But f of f would be 2 times 2x minus 5 bracket minus 5. These are two different things. Keep that in mind. Okay. So back to, is it possible to form a composite function or not? It's not always possible to form a composite function. It depends on the given domain of the values. So when domains are involved, it's not always possible to form fg or gf. Now in this question, let's say the domain of fx is 2 to 5. So from 2 to 5, that's the domain of fx. And the domain of gx is minus 5 to 0. Now the first part of the question is, okay, is it possible to form fg? And the exam terminology is the composition fg possible? Is the composition fg possible? अब fg में what's the input function? हम f को g में पुट कर रहे होते हैं या g को f में पुट कर रहे होते हैं?
g को f में.
Yes, so the input function is g. So we start from there. Let's write the function gx in a bar. This is gx. It's x square. And what are its input values? Its input values are
-5 to 0.
-5 to 0. That's correct. -5. I'm just writing the integer values. -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. Okay. So if these are the input values, then what will be the output values of gx?
25, 16, 9, 4, and 1, and then 0.
And 0, yes. So let's start with 0 square, which is 0. -1 square is 1. -2 square is 4. -3 square is 9, 16, and 25. Now this is fed to fx. When we say कि g को input कर दें fx में, that means हम g के output को put कर रहे होते हैं fx में. So now this is fed to fx. Okay. Can these values be fed to fx? fx has a domain restriction. क्या है fx की domain restriction?
2 to 5.
2 to 5. So can we feed 0 and then 9 and 16 and 25 to fx?
No.
Can't, because fx has a restricted domain. वो कह रहा है कि fx में जो x की values जाएंगी ना, वो 2 से 5 के बीच में होनी चाहिए. लेकिन g जो values produce कर रहा है, क्या वो 2 से 5 के बीच में है? नहीं है. So it is not possible to input g into f. So it is not possible to form fg. All right.
Yep.
Abu Bakr, do you understand this?
जी मिस.
ठीक है. तो g का जो आउटपुट है ना, वो fx के इनपुट के सेम नहीं है. अगर वो उसके अंदर अंदर होता ना, तो फिर हम कहते जी बिल्कुल we can form the composition fg, but we can't here. Now how do we write that for the examiner? You write since the range of, इसकी रेंज की बात करते हैं क्योंकि हमने g की आउटपुट वैल्यूज ली थी ना. these are all output values of g. Since the range of g is partially outside, is outside, ऐसे partially outside here, is outside the domain input values of fx. The domain of fx hence the composition fg is not possible. Hence composition fg is not possible.
काफी है आज के लिए.
बस थोड़ा सा और एक दो और एग्जांपल करते हैं. Let's just do one more example at least. Okay. So that was the first example, if the composition fg is possible or not. Now we're going to check if the composition gf is possible or not. इसको किधर करें, इधर करते हैं. Second part is the composition gf possible? gf possible. Now what is the input function here?
fx.
fx. So start with fx. Okay, fx is 2x minus 5. What are the allowed input values of fx?
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes. Yes, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay. If these are the allowed input values, then what would be the output produced by fx?
-1, 1, 3, 5.
-1 is correct. For 3 2s are 6, 1. 4 2s are 8, 3, and 5. यही बोला था.
Yep.
Now these output values will be fed to gx now. gx is x square. Okay. Can -1, 1, 3 and 5 be fed to gx?
ये भी partially out of the
Yes.
domain है.
-1 can be fed to it. Yes. क्योंकि gx का input ये है. Yes. 1 भी किया जा सकता है. 3 नहीं किया जा सकता. 5 नहीं किया जा सकता. So no. The output of fx is partially outside the input of gx, जिसको हम लिखते हैं the range of fx is partially outside the domain of gx. So write that down.
मिस आपने कहा 1 इसमें इंक्लूड हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता?
देखो ना gx क्या, gx की डोमेन क्या है? gx की डोमेन है -5 से 0 तक. 1 नहीं हो सकता, गलत बोल दिया था. 1 नहीं हो सकता. -1 हो सकता है. 1, 3, 5 नहीं हो सकता. So again you write, अच्छा statement is always the same. ये inner function जो होता है ना f, इसकी range की बात करते हैं. Since range of fx is partially outside domain of gx. So composition gf is not possible. So that's all for today. If you have any questions, please ask.